I've only had one major embarrassing moment so far in my nursing career, and it involved my time in the emergency room. After getting our patient triaged and situated, I went back in for a follow-up temperature check. I grabbed the thermometer, I shielded it, and I was about to place it into my patient's mouth. Had it not been for my colleague coming in with the blue thermometer, I would have done a rectal temp in the mouth of my patient. My colleague saved me from embarrassing myself, but it made for a lot of laughs during the rest of the day.
My funniest story as a nurse happened last week. I was taking care of a patient. He had to be discharged, and for him to be discharged, he had to have some urinary output. And he couldn't get any urinary output, so I had to put a Foley catheter in him. And the doctor's orders was to measure the amount of output for the patients. So I took the output and put it in a cylinder. And the problem that happened with me is I spilled a little bit of urine on the floor. So I had the cylinder in my hands, and I went to go get some paper towels. While coming back to wipe off the floor, my shoulder hit the wall, and I spilled the urine on the wall. That's my story.
So my most embarrassing moment as a new nurse would have to be the time that I squirted saline in the doctor's face. So I was taking the Foley, and I put it in, and went to put the saline in, totally squirted a doctor in the face in the OR during a procedure. It was nice. She kept her cool, we kept working as a team, everything was all right.
It was my second semester in nursing school, and I was doing my OB rotation. And I was up at the hospital, and the patient that I had, the little boy that I had, was in like the intensive care part of it. And I had gone in there with my nurse to check on him, and the doctor came in there. And the doctor asked me what I knew about that child, and I told him that, well, he was having, born prematurely. He was born, had breathing problems. He was breathing really fast, and he probably had tachypnea and was suffering from, some respiratory problems. And the doctor looked at me just as serious as he could, and he said, no, that's not what's wrong with him. And I just kind of looked at him, and he said, he has tachypnea. Do you know what that is? And I thought, never heard that in my life. I don't know. What is that? And he says, that's when they have rapid breathing, fast breathing. And I just looked at him, and I thought, I've never heard of that in my life. And I quickly told him that I was from the South, and we say tachypnea in the South, and we all laughed about it. But it was very embarrassing because I'm in my second semester of nursing school, and I certainly should have known what tachypnea was. So that was my most embarrassing moment.
I walked into, it was one of my first patients in clinicals, and I walked into her room, and she's sitting on the bedside commode, and asked me to help her pull this out, and it looked like a baby was coming out of her bottom. It was so large, and I knew that I couldn't pull it out without an order, and so I ran and got a nurse, and we ended up getting an order, and I had to give an enema, and it was just, everybody made, a big deal about it because I had to give an enema that day.